Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Rosie, and you're listening to My Intrusive Thoughts. Welcome to another episode. It's almost the end of October. We are now fully set into fall weather. And with fall, I've always kind of associated the feeling of nostalgia, the feeling of going back in time, revisiting old memories, just thinking back and reflecting the times before. And sometimes they're good memories, sometimes they're bad. But at the heart of it, the idea is just, the familiarity that comes with the idea of revisiting the past, right? And today I was thinking about like what I wanted to talk about and everything, and I realized that I really wanted to get back at the very beginning of any experience that we've ever had or the memory of, and that's being a child. Starts from childhood, obviously, when you start making memories, right? And retaining them and so on. It's a process that goes on for life and it never really ends. And yes, we forget sometimes. It gets murky, it gets a little dark. You forget, you choose to forget. You deliberately suppress memory sometimes. You have to, or you're just so busy in life, and it just takes you a lot of going back and really pushing yourself back into that mindset to be able to revisit the past sometimes. So, whilst thinking about all of that, I was struck with this question and this idea that, we've all heard about the inner child. If you're studying psychology, if you've like just randomly ever heard somebody talk about, oh, that's such a childish thing to do, like you let your inner child win, sort of thing. Um, what is that? And why is it so important? And what role that really plays in our lives, in our personality building and whatnot. To begin with, the idea of the inner child is more than just a cute idea or a hashtag, I believe. It's the part of us that still holds memories. It's the part of us that holds joys and wounds and dreams of our earliest years. It's where our creativity lives, our curiosity. It's the beginning of wanting to explore the idea of, you know, being and our desires and our wants. It's the desire to be seen, to be loved, to be held, to interact, to get to know someone. It could be anything, right? And I believe psychologists might call it part of our subconscious, and some people might say it's a spiritual thing or emotional, whatever it may be. People just sometimes throw it around playfully as well. But I think your inner child, at the crux of it all, still resides in you every step of the way. Whether it's your subconscious, whether it's just a spiritual belief, it is part of you, it's part of your personality. And so that begs the question, what is it trying to say? What is it trying to tell you, I guess? And whether you want to listen to it and believe in it. When I think about an inner child, the concept of it is, sometimes you have moments in life where you're going through something and suddenly you get gripped by this emotion or deja vu or just this like thought crosses your head that seems to be so, you know, out of proportion. Like it could be something very small, but it just hits you, and then you're just like, you have to think and you have to pause and you have to just, you're like, where is this coming from? And it's not a conscious thing, but it comes from within. Like, if someone's criticizing you, maybe, and you're suddenly like very teary eyed, and you just kind of think back to a time where in the past somebody had said the same thing or similar things to you, and you're just like, those emotions come rushing to the forefront of your brain as well. And you suddenly feel like that 6-year old again, in that particular scenario. And even though that has nothing to do with what's happening in the now, but those emotions are very much true and very much present within you right now. Or maybe, you walk by a place that you used to frequent when you were a kid, and you're hit by all those, memories and emotions. Like, maybe you're passing by a playground and you look at a swing, and then you're reminded of the rush that you used to get being on one of those swings. Or, playing cricket, and you feel that thrill inside. You feel the emotion vibrating inside you. I think that's what an inner child is, because that part of you recognizes those memories, those past experiences that you've had, and it wants to tell you that, that part of you still exists, even though you don't go out and play in the playgrounds anymore, even though you don't like play that instrument maybe, or listen to that particular song maybe anymore, or wear a certain type of dress, or go to a certain type of place, or you know something. And that's so beautiful, I think, in a very heartbreaking way, I suppose. Because sometimes that voice says things that you normally would not want to voice out. Things like, why does everybody leave? Or why does it always happen to me? Or, when something is bothering you and you're like, I am tired of doing this. Like, it just feels so out of proportion for that particular moment, but you just feel like you've been doing this all your life, sort of thing. I think we don't always recognize that, but that's our inner child. And these are the feelings, these are the thoughts from early chapters of our lives that we haven't fully read through, we haven't fully explored or gotten closure from. Sometimes during therapy, your therapist might suggest you write journals. Journaling is supposed to be very therapeutic, and I've done it. Personally, I've not really found the joy in it, but I've heard that it helps a lot of people, and I can get behind the idea. I mean, when I think about it, to write out your feelings, pour them out, turn them from abstract to like solid thoughts, like physical, you know, um, entities. I guess, yes, that makes a lot of sense. So, I just wanted to do something like that for this episode, where I write a letter to my inner child and talk about how I feel and address it. Like, sometimes it's there and it just needs acknowledgement, right? And today I feel like giving it that acknowledgement, just so that I can feel better about the fact that if I were that little kid who wanted to be seen, I would be happy to know that at least I stood up for myself and I am there for myself. And sometimes that's all you need. So here it goes. Dear little me, I see you. I know for a long time you thought no one really did. You waited quietly, hoping somebody would notice. The way your eyes lit up when you picked up a new book, or the way you held your breath when you were about to look at your result card, or the way you shrank back when somebody talked about blood. And trust me, you get to see a lot of that now. I know you've been told that you're too sensitive, or that you take things to heart too much. I know that you've been told that things are not as big as you make them out to be, and I know you feel big. And that's okay. I just want to tell you that it's okay to feel big. It's okay to have all those emotions. It's okay to want to feel deeply and love deeply, and to look at things deeply, and to make sense of nonsense, and to sit back, gaze at the stars at night, and imagine a fairy tale of your own, and be the main character of that fairy tale. I see it now, how important those things were to you. I remember how hard you tried, how much you gave, but never really got much in return. The way you made yourself fit in and be part of large groups, hoping that they would give the same energy and give the same efforts and love to you that you held for everybody around you. It was a lot to carry, and that wasn't your job. That was never your job. You were just a kid, trying to be part of something big. You were just a kid, trying to fit in and live life. But somehow, somewhere along the lines, you had to grow up. You had to be not like the other kids. You had to take responsibility. You had to make sure that you were setting an example. You read the room better than anybody else, better than most adults. You held in tears when it wasn't safe to cry. You taught yourself to survive in places you should have been allowed to simply be. And I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for the years that didn't come back for you. For the times I told you to grow up when you just wanted to be held. For the way I picked apart our body in the mirror while you stood there watching, confused, thinking something must be wrong with you. For not feeling good enough. For always thinking that no matter how much effort you put in, you're never gonna be that person. You are that person. And that should be enough. You're not too much. You're not a burden. You are not broken. You are magic. The kind of magic that still believes in rainstorms and puddles and forgiveness. The kind that can still laugh with your whole face and love without needing a reason. The kind that still cries over Dumbledore dying. The kind that picks up a new book and forgets the world exists. The kind that is still waiting for her Hogwarts letter to this day. The kind that jumps at every opportunity to help somebody in need. The kind that wants to never see people around her being in pain. You're all that and so much more. And I want you to know that I'm listening now. I want to know what makes you light up, what makes you feel safe, what still hurts. I want to hold your hand when you're scared and dance with you when you're full of joy. I want you to know that you don't have to be scared anymore. You don't have to cry yourself to sleep thinking about everyone that you lost and somehow finding ways to blame yourself for being too weak not to be able to move on, for being too heartbroken, for feeling so deeply even though years have passed, for not being able to forget these people that you loved so dearly. I want you to know that through it all, I'm here and I'm with you. And I also want to let you know that you have now found someone who holds you when you cry, someone who listens to you yap about all the random things in life. You have a partner who is so loving and caring and looks after you and can read between the lines when no one else did. Makes you feel safe. You are safe. You don't have to earn that love anymore. You are love. So rest, little one. Cry if you need to. Sing off ballads or break into a rap song if you want. Do whatever makes you feel happy. Go wild. I've got you now. For good. With all my heart, your grown up self. I think I need to sit with that for a minute. I am kind of emotional now. Writing that down didn't really feel that heavy, but now that I've read it out loud, I'm kind of feeling some type of way. And I think if that resonates with you, maybe it's time for you to do that as well. Go ahead, write your own. Acknowledge your inner child. Anyways, so having said that, having acknowledged all of that, what do we do with this information? What do we do with this part of us that is there and holds so much? Things that shape us, things that made us who we are, without being acknowledged, just existing all this time. And I think I have a couple ideas. Maybe you will also find them to be useful. Because I think I was not big on the idea of self affirmations and all of that stuff. I used to find that very stupid. All these self help books and all of that. Like, if people could like find ways to help themselves in books, everybody would be like on board and have their life sorted somehow. If we could like just get all these ideas and put them in a book and then distribute them to everybody, like imagine the kind of life. Technically that's the whole precipice of religion in a way, but yeah, that's exactly why I don't really believe that unless you really want to, unless you're willing to adapt to that, really follow that through, it's no use, right? So just like Islam, if you're not gonna be following the principles of Islam, you're not gonna be, abiding by the laws, then it's no, like, it doesn't really help you in any way. It's not serving you the purpose that it's supposed to serve. So what I have figured out in this short lifetime of mine is that all these emotions that sometimes feel too big are things that we've suppressed, things that we have never really given focus and attention to, and that's what we need to do. Acknowledge. You need to tell yourself and validate yourself first of all before anybody else does. You have to be your best friend, you have to be your biggest cheerleader and critique as well, and that's where it all starts, right? So for example, when I'm overwhelmed and I have a lot going on in my head, I take a deep breath and I'm like, what would 80-year-old me need right now? If I were going through that at that age. Or when I'm feeling very happy and I want it to like last longer, I don't dwell on the negative things. I purposely sit down and think of happy thoughts. Sometimes I do like silly things that I used to do when I was a child, like I used to like sit back, gaze at the stars and like make up little stories about them, you know picture them as planets or galaxies, or like just it used to be such a fun activity for me when I was a kid. Like, I loved stargazing and just like looking at falling stars. It just used to be so therapeutic for me, just stargazing. So I do that sometimes. Like, it's just makes me feel good about myself, makes me feel like myself. And when I'm going through something that makes me feel shit about myself, obviously it doesn't happen all the time. I'm not really perfect in this. But like, I acknowledge that, oh, this is not really something that's actually there. Maybe it's an amalgam of a lot of different other things going on right now, and I need to like sit down with it, take a moment, And I don't really hate myself. I'm not that bad. And I have to really tell myself that, not everything is going down to shit. Like, I'm still a good person, I'm still capable, I'm still good enough, boss ass bitch. Sometimes you have to do that. And maybe that is a little like self affirmation, but maybe, even if it isn't, I mean, it's something that really helps me. And I think most of all, I just try to listen to myself, without judgment. And, I was reading somewhere that sometimes you unconsciously become an adult that you might have needed as a child. And I really believe in that. Um, I think a lot of my practices or beliefs are built upon the experiences I've had as a kid. And I'm glad that I broke that cycle, right? Because I know people who do not break the cycles. I know people who, if they've been dealt with a bad hand, they would continue to perpetuate that. But I've always believed that if I've been through a bad experience, I would not want to perpetuate that. I would want to break that cycle and be there for somebody like myself. I think my entire career choice was based on that. So, yeah, I think that really spoke to me, and that is something that has stayed with me all this time. And you know what? You just have to try to be nicer to yourself. I think that's the crux. And this child that is inside you will feel more safe when you become the person that they need for you. And this child inside you is a protector all by its own right. So here's a gentle reminder: your inner child isn't gone, just quieter, maybe. And the beautiful thing is, it's never too late to reconnect. In fact, it might be the most healing relationship you will ever have. And I swear to God, tried and tested, okay? And I guess that's about it. It's been a very structured episode for once. It's trying to be more, sophisticated with the narration and everything, because this called for it, I think. This called for that structure. And I guess thanks for listening. Thanks for being here and letting me ramble as always. I think tonight I want you to do one thing. When you go to bed, just lie down and ask yourself this question: to my inner child, what do you want to tell me? And then whatever your body tells you, whatever your mind comes up with, just listen, just without judgment, without second guessing, without just bulldozing over everything. Just listen to yourself. And with that, I guess I will now take my leave. I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Please be kind to yourself. And I'll see you next time. Bye.